Bucknutters, welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, January 5th, I almost said 2017. I'm never going to get used to this. It's also 2018 now. I am Dave Biddle. I'm very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker. Jonah knows what year it is, even though I don't. Jonah, good news for the Buckeyes last night during the Under Armour game. First player to announce was Tyreke Smith. No frills, no hat dance. Tyreke Smith, 4-star defensive end from Cleveland. He picks the Buckeyes JBook. He is the 22nd commitment in Ohio State's class, and the first since the early signing period. Even though he has already signed with Ohio State, he made it official last night. Just your thoughts on Tyreke Smith. Obviously, they needed to get beef up the D ends in this class. They missed out on a few guys they were in on. Your thoughts on Tyreke Smith?
Yeah, this was a must-get player here. Definitely a position of need, considering the defensive end position. This is a huge win for the Buckeyes, keeping a in-state guy home, especially a guy with his talent and his potential. Smith is walking into the 2 deep at Ohio State right away, so hopefully they can get him on campus, get him ready to go. But I love this pickup right here. This defensive line haul is going to be tremendous when it's all said and done, especially with the defensive tackles being the prize position in this recruiting class. I still think they may want to get Friday in the mix here, so that's going to be to be determined to see if he's willing to be a Buckeye. But I know they want to get at least one more guy in this class. But tremendous haul for the Buckeyes. Great get with Smith. Huge position of need right there. And you're looking at a guy that could be, first year into the program in the rotation. After that, he could be pushing for starter minutes there. So that tells you what type of impact player he's going to be at the next level.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he, as you said, walking into the 2 deep right away, I was saying he has a good chance to make the 2 deep. You're taking it a step further. Looking at it, though, I think you're right. Nick Bosa, Chase Young will be the starters. Jonathan Cooper being a heck of a number 3, top backup, and they'll rotate those guys. But, man, unless they move somebody like Rashad Berry back over to D-end or move a D-tackle down to D-end, it does look like Tyreke Smith is going to be that 4th guy in the 2 deep.
Absolutely. I know there's a lot of talk moving Malik Harrison down to the defensive end, and I think he has the body and the frame to be a tremendous pass rusher. But Smith, there's no way he's going to redshirt. They're going to need him to go in and get ready to play minutes on a substitution basis right away. So that's why I think it's going to be key for him to have his mind frame ready to go out the gates to be able to contribute to this football team. It's a huge position of need. That the numbers aren't there like they want them to be, but he's going to help fill that void for the time being.
Let's transition to some team coverage. Jack Wallabaugh announced yesterday, redshirt freshman, that he is transferring from Ohio State to Duke. People might say, who cares? I was probably more bullish on this young man than most coming out because of his NFL bloodlines. Dad played in the NFL, and I was thinking, man, I know he's a little undersized, but, hey, we've had some pretty good undersized centers here at Ohio State, and I thought maybe he would be a guy that could grow into I was saying he could grow into a Pat Elflein's maybe a little too much. Pat Elflein's kicking ass in the NFL right now, but I wish Jack Wallabaugh well at Duke. Let's push this forward, though, JBook. Looks like Brady Taylor is a 5th-year senior, is in the driver's seat right now to be the starter, but obviously other guys are going to be in the mix. I know there's been talk they could move Matt Burrell from guard to center. As you break it down, do you think Brady Taylor is going to win this job, and just who else you think might really push him?
Yeah, I'm not sold on Brady Taylor right now. I'm not sure he really has that grind that you want from your center that Ohio State has saw at that position for the last several years with Billy Price and Elflein. So I'm not 100% sold on Brady Taylor. I know in the boarding house there was some talk that Josh Myers may get a look there. Now, if he can play center, I think the upside with that guy is through the roof. You could be looking at another all Big Ten type of center with Myers if they decide to move him over to that position. I know Matt Burrell, he may get a look there, but the center position has been the anchor to this offensive line the last several years. So whoever moves over to that position, they're going to be trusting that guy to set the offense offensive line as far as making the calls at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to be a guy that has to be relied on. But at the same time, you need that production. I'm not saying the next guy is going to be Billy Price his first year starting, but you can have a significant drop-off. I don't know if Brady Taylor is going to alleviate that drop-off. So I think Burrell, Josh Myers are guys that you want to keep an eye on this spring.
We thought we were going to keep Greg Schiano for another year. I even joked with him down at the Cotton Bowl, like, hey, selfishly, I'm glad you're sticking around for another year, and he laughed. And I know he intended on coming back, and maybe he still will, but Rich Rodriguez, our old friend, JBook, he got canned down at Arizona. Not quite in your backyard, but close. You're in the Phoenix area. He's down the Tucson area, but same state. Now there's rumors that Greg Schiano is in the mix for the Arizona job. I got to be honest, that makes a lot of sense to me. That seems like a good fit. I thought he was going to get a Power 5 job eventually and a mid-tier Power 5 job. I mean, they haven't seen defense down there in a while. Rich Rod showed up, and they haven't seen defense since. But it's been a while since Desert Swarm. But, again, this is just a rumor. But what do you think about the Greg Schiano to Arizona rumor?
Yeah, it's a rumor that's out there. I'm not 100% sold on it. I know yesterday morning at the gym on the treadmill watching the local news, and they listed Kevin Sumlin as one of the guys at the top of their list. They also had interest in Les Miles, and it's ironic because they're firing Rich Rod for a lot of his mischievous things that he did while he's a head coach there, but they're talking about Les Miles hiring Ole Miss old head coach as his offensive coordinator to run the spread, because one of the things that Les Miles was holding him back was his stale offense, the same type of offense that Jim Harbaugh is running up in Michigan right now, the 1975 style of football, and that's not going to fly in the Pac-12. And then they also had former Oregon head coach Alfred as a potential candidate. So there's some names out there. There's a lot of interest, a lot of guys that are out there that doesn't have a job right now is getting the look. I wouldn't be surprised if Greg Schiano gets a hard look. But to be honest with you, Dave, I truly believe that whole Tennessee debacle really hurt his brand and really hurt his name. I mean, that's why I think that lawsuit, if he's deciding to pursue it, could be something come out of that, because I don't know if he's going to get a Power 5 job. I know they're thinking that he will in the next year or two, but I'm not sure how well of a job he will get as far as, something similar to the Tennessee job. So it'll be interesting, something to watch, but I'm not sure how damaged goods Greg Schiano is based off that Penn State and the Tennessee thing, even though I admit the guy got a completely raw deal. He didn't deserve any of that, but I just feel like the public perception and the public opinion it sometimes goes overboard in college football.
Very possible. I've said he's not toxic, but you could be right. And the proof will be in the pudding. There's no doubt about it. Before I let you go, keeping with the defensive side of the football with the Ohio State assistant coaches, Alex Grinch, we reported 3 weeks ago, our Alex Gleitman was the first to report that Alex Grinch was, 99.9% going to be hired at Ohio State. I'm not quoting Gleitman on that. I think he just said this will happen, basically. We just can't make it official. I reached out to Ohio State last night because Bruce Feldman put something on Twitter last night that, Ohio State will hire Alex Grinch. And, again, we've known this for a while, but I reached out to Ohio State. They're not making anything official till next Tuesday, which is when they can, the 10th coach, when that actually becomes officially enacted. But it's not, just trust me, Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners, and JBook knows this, there's a 100% chance that Alex Grinch is going to be at Ohio State. So we don't know if Schiano's going to be here, but when Grinch does get here, it sounds like he's going to be co-defensive coordinator for a year and then take over as defensive coordinator. I'm sure Urban laid that out for him. But as you're saying, JBook, you don't think it's a sure thing that Schiano's going to be a head coach at some point, but I have to think Urban told Grinch, listen, if you're going to come here as co-defensive coordinator. That's only going to be for 1 year. Then I'm going to elevate you to D coordinator. That's just my inclination. Just give me your thoughts on the impending Alex Grinch hiring.
Yeah, all I have to say to the Bucknutters out there, you know it's a pretty good hire when the Michigan faithful is pissed that Ohio State was able to get him. The Michigan faithful, the Michigan faithful, and a lot of guys know on Twitter, Sean Martin, one of the biggest Michigan homers there is, he's sitting here praising Ohio State, and a couple of Michigan guys is praising Ohio State's ability to pull a defensive coordinator from a Power 5 conference, whereas up there in Jim Harbaugh country, those guys are complaining because he's looking to hire grad assistants for the 10th position and coaches that are leaving in droves up there. So that kind of tells you, when your arch rival is pissed off about your hire, that lets you know it's going to be a pretty good one. But as far as Grinch, he's a young guy. He's a local guy from Ohio. I know a lot of people was questioning his defense the way Washington State showed up against Michigan State. I knew that game was going to get out of hand pretty fast. Here's the thing. With Grinch's defense that he was running, he had Washington State playing well above their potential. Those guys, they were just way too small for Michigan State. You look at their defense ends, their defensive tackle was like 240 pounds, even though he was a All-American. He was severely underweight. The guy looked like he had Pee Wee football pads on out there as a defensive tackle. But those guys, the scheme that he was running with Washington State, they were just way too small. They could not set the edge against Michigan State, and Michigan State was just running the football down their throat. They were way too physical. Now, you put the talent that Ohio State has, bigger, faster, stronger guys that he's working with. I think the defense has potential to continue trucking along. Who knows if Greg Schiano is going to get this Arizona job, but I like the fact that Urban is looking young. He's trying to further develop that coaching tree with Grinch and Day. You're looking at potential superstars in the making as coaches, and he's starting at a younger age, trying to get that creativity into the program, which you have to commend Urban for. He's thinking outside the box, and he's not afraid to go after some younger coaching talent.
Yeah, even after the Michigan State game, Washington State finished 16th in the country in total defense. I mean, think about that. Washington State finished 16th in the country in total defense, playing in, the pass-happy Pac-10, high-scoring Pac-12, I call it the Pac-10 still, Pac-12, and, I mean, this is a guy, you think of Mike Leach teams, you think defense need not apply. When Grinch was hired, for those that don't know, you know this, I think most people know this, Grinch was there for 3 years as defensive coordinator. When he took over, they were ranked in the 100s in both total defense and scoring defense. Each year he's chopping them way down in the rankings. He has them to go from the 114th total defense in the country 3 years ago to the 16th total defense. And against Michigan State, they didn't have their quarterback, Luke Falk. I think if Washington State had their quarterback, obviously that helps your defense when you're not having 3 and outs all the time. So I think that really hurt them against Michigan State.
Right. That, and they also had their top 2 wide receivers kicked off the team before the bowl game, so their offense was pretty much shot going into that bowl game. And you touched on a great point. Mike Leach offense, it puts the defense at a tremendous disadvantage. The guy refuses to run the football. He's looking to throw that ball 40 and 50 times a game, and because of that, the defense is on the field quite a bit, especially with 3 and outs, that it's such a high rate that, you have to expect your defense to have a drop-off, but that's not the case. And what I look at Grinch, I kind of look at a Chris Ash type of hire. I know a lot of people looked at what Ash did at Wisconsin in those Rose Bowl runs that they had, and then he went down to Arkansas. Now, Arkansas defense, it was okay. It wasn't great, but the impact that Ash had coming in, thinking outside the box, a younger coach, that tremendously helped this program. It elevated that defense to a new level and able to that defense to play at a national championship type of level. So I think that's what I'm looking at as far as Grinch being a Chris Ash type of hire, thinking outside the box, bringing an innovative type of defense to the table.
JBook is always playing at an All-American level. I appreciate it, my friend. He is Jonah Booker. You can catch his column every week on Bucknuts. It is outside Columbus. Thank you very much, Jonah, and thank you very much to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag. Best damn band in the land.